Free-to-play games really are everywhere on our Xbox consoles, but let's be real, not all of them are worth your time. A while back now, I did drop a list of the best free-to-play games you can play in 2025, but since then, Xbox has been flooded with some brand new titles. So today, I'm going to bring you a massive update and covering the 20 best free-to-play games that you can jump into right now. Also, don't worry, I'm skipping the obvious ones like Fortnite and Warzone, as 99% of you already know about those games already. Instead, I'll be showing you some true hidden gems that you might not have even tried yet. With that, my name is Fletcher, and this is Xbox Nation, and let's dive straight into the best free games you can play on Xbox as of today. First up, and if you're after a massive FPS with that Battlefield vibe, then you've got to try Delta Force. This game throws 128 players onto huge maps, mixing vehicles, sharp gunplay, and chaotic firefights all in one package. On Xbox, it does run surprisingly well, though I will be honest, I wasn't a big fan of the menus or even the gacha style extras. But once you're in a match though, all of that does disappear. Sniping across wide open battlefields does feel pretty clean, and storming buildings with a squad still brings that sort of heart-pounding cinematic intensity that we love from our large-scale shooters. It's the scale plus the moment-to-moment action that makes Delta Force so blimmin' addictive. Every match does feel like a war zone, complete with explosive highs and tactical challenges. This one is going to stick around as a staple free-to-play shooter on Xbox for years, and I expect that many of you have probably already tried it. The Finals has quickly become one of my absolute favourite free-to-play games, and honestly, it's hard not to bloody love it. The destruction system here is the star of the show. Walls will crumble, floors collapse, and no two matches ever play out the same way. One moment you'll be defending a cash station, and the next is nothing but rubble. On the Xbox Series X and S consoles, it does run shockingly smooth, even with all of that chaos unfolding at one time. What makes it stand out though is its creativity. Winning isn't just about shooting, it's about outsmarting your opponents. You can blow up a hole in the wall, drop down from a rooftop, or trap enemies in their own chaos. It really is just all fair game. Add in so much free content, constant updates, and a player base in the hundreds of thousands every single day, and you've got one of the most addictive shooters on the market. Siege X is basically Rainbow Six Siege reimagined as a free-to-play shooter, and honestly, it feels like the game was always meant to be this way. Ubisoft packed in tons of improvements here, while keeping what made Siege so special, it's that tension. Every corner you check could hide a trap, and every door you open could lead to an ambush. It's a game where brains are just as important as bullets. On the Xbox consoles, the controls are still razor sharp, gadgets work exactly as intended, and matchmaking gets you into the action pretty fast. The best moments though come when it's down to you as the last survivor. Your heart will be pounding, sneaking through enemy lines, then clutching that impossible win, and it's the kind of adrenaline rush that most shooters can't really touch. Siege X still delivers that intensity, and now everyone can experience it for free on your Xbox consoles. The first time you boot up Zenless Zone Zero, the first thing that you'll notice is its style. Neon-soaked streets, flashy combat, and a soundtrack that keeps you hooked, and it just oozes so much personality. Even if you're just button mashing, the combat still feels pretty slick, but if you want to dive deeper, there are combos and mechanics that make every fight even more rewarding. I'll admit though, I haven't actually had much time with this one myself, but the community around it is pretty massive. I've seen plenty of you in the comments below talking about playing it daily, and that really does say a lot. What really sets this one apart though from other gacha style games really is its energy. It's fast, fun, and endlessly replayable, and perfect for those sort of just one more round nights that you get every so often. Zenless Zone Zero might not be your typical Xbox freebie, but it's got that unique flavour that's definitely worth tasting. The word that sums up Throne of Liberty is massive. This MMO doesn't just look gorgeous on our Xbox consoles, it still feels like it was built for console play. With clean menus, intuitive controls, and smooth performance, it makes it so easy to get lost in this world. One moment you'll be grinding quests like typical MMOs, but the next you're pulling off huge PvP sieges or taking on a colossal world boss alongside dozens of other players. The scale of this one is still pretty breathtaking to this day, and the dynamic weather systems still make every battle feel unpredictable. A storm rolling in, for instance, can still completely flip a fight, keeping you really on your toes. I've sunk countless hours into this one myself, and it's the kind of game that rewards every single minute of play. If you're after an MMO on Xbox with some true scale, then this is the one to play. Genshin Impact really has quickly established itself as one of the best free-to-play games you can play right now on Xbox. Picture the massive open world exploration of games like Breath of the Wild, but then add in some stylish anime-inspired combat and a party system with unique characters, alongside the elements that interact with each other in clever ways. The result is a game that feels both relaxing and epic at the same time. Yes, of course, it is one of those games that still has those gacha mechanics, and if you want specific characters, that can really tempt your wallet. The good news though is that you don't don't actually have to spend anything to have an amazing time with this one. Just exploring the world, uncovering its secrets, and building your core team is more than enough to keep you hooked for quite a few hours. It really is stunning, satisfying, and completely free, and definitely a must-try for RPG fans. Marvel Rivals is the dream team mashup we didn't know we needed. It's a hero shooter in the style of Overwatch, but the twist is you're playing as iconic Marvel characters. Each hero does bring their own unique abilities, and a tag team system adds another layer of strategy, letting you combine powers for some devastating combos. Matches here are chaotic in the best way, with modes ranging from all-out brawls to capture-the-point showdowns. The seasonal updates also keep things pretty fresh as well, with brand new maps, characters, and also events constantly dropping. Whether you're a Marvel comic book fan or just looking for a polished shooter, this one really does deliver. I had such a good time with it that I went out my way to grab the full base 1000 gamer score, and that says it all, as Marvel Rivals is an absolute blast. Path of Exile isn't just another Diablo clone, instead it's one of those sort of few action RPGs that actually does stand on its own. What makes this one so bloody good though is the insane amount of customization you get right out the gate. You've got this massive skill tree that looks more like a galaxy map than anything else I've ever seen before, plus those gems that completely change how your abilities work. It can feel pretty overwhelming at first, so don't be afraid to peek at a guide as there's plenty around, especially on YouTube. But once this game really clicks, it's ridiculously satisfying. The best part though, the game is free, so you can rope in your friends without twisting their arms. Even if it wasn't free, this would still be one of the best action RPGs out in the market, but that $0 price tag makes it such a no-brainer. If you've never lost an entire weekend designing your dream home and then forgetting to actually take care of your sim, then you're missing out. The Sims 4 did actually go fully free to play back in 2022, so now anyone can dive into this base game without paying a cent. Honestly, the base game alone does give you plenty to do, from building, decorating, and messing with your Sims' lives. It really is still all there. Of course, EA still has a mountain of expansions and game packs if you do want to go wild, but you don't really need them to enjoy yourself in this experience. Whether you're brand new or just curious to see how well it plays on Xbox compared to your PC, now's the perfect time to really give this one a shot. Warning though, you will spend way too much time in the build mode, or just wanted to kill off your Sims in some ridiculous ways. From the team behind League of Legends came Valorant, and if you're into tactical shooters, this one should already be on your radar. Imagine if Overwatch's heroes, with their flashy powers and big personalities, got dropped straight into a Counter-Strike match. That is really Valorant in a nutshell. Success here isn't just about your aim, it's about map knowledge, timing, and when to unleash your ultimate to flip a fight in your favour. Right from the start, you'll have a roster of agents for you to choose from, and you can unlock more of a time just by playing. Or, if you have Xbox Game Pass, you can unlock all of them pretty immediately. Sure, there are optional microtransactions and plenty of cosmetics, but if you're looking for some sharp competitive gunplay, you don't have to spend a dime. It's sweaty, it's intense, and it's completely free, and it's one of the best tactical shooters available on Xbox. Although Final Fantasy XIV isn't fully free to play, its trial is honestly one of the best deals in all of gaming. You get the base game known as A Realm Reborn, plus the first expansion Heaven's Sword, all without paying a thing, and there's no time limits. That's dozens, if not hundreds of hours of story-driven content for you to dive into, and it isn't just filler MMO grind either. Final Fantasy XIV really is known for its storytelling, characters, and world building, and that's why it's still got such a high population to this day. Whether you're already a fan of Final Fantasy coming off World of Warcraft, or if you're just looking for an RPG with a rich, living world, this trial is the perfect entry point. Fair warning though, once you finish the free content, you might find yourself itching to grab your wallet for the rest of the expansions because it's that blooming good. Warframe has been around for years at this point, but what's wild is it still feels like it's just getting started. Of course, as you're probably aware, you play as a space ninja, slicing, shooting and parkouring through missions, and over time the game has just kept evolving. It started with tight corridor-based levels, then expanded into massive open worlds, and now even feature ship-to-ship battles. The combat, as you can probably see on screen now, is really fast, flashy, and unlike anything else I've played on the market, and since it's free to play, you can dive into it right now. I'll be real, Warframe doesn't really explain itself super well, and the early hours can almost feel certainly a bit confusing. Honestly though, once you start pushing past that steep learning curve, you'll find one of the deepest and most rewarding free-to-play games available on Xbox today. Whether you're in it for the co-op action, the insane movement, or just the sheer variety, Warframe does deliver on every single front. There's just something about stepping into a giant mech that really never gets old, and Mecha Break absolutely nailed that fantasy when it launched this year. There aren't just big robots, they're towering war machines clashing across massive battlefields with rockets that streak past and lasers lighting up the sky. On Xbox, the controls make them surprisingly smooth to pilot, so the action always feels fast, fluid, instead of slow or even clunky. What really hooked me into this one though was the customization. You're not just hopping into a mech, you're actually building it, tuning it to your preferred playstyle. If you want to be a tanky juggernaut that's stomping across the battlefield, then you can certainly do that. Or if you prefer a sleek, high-powered fighter, just like I play, then that works as well. Every battle feels like your own anime showdown, and that power trip never gets old. And honestly, I see why the Steam charts have this so highly rated in terms of its player counts. I have to say, Palia is the kind of game where you will sit down and play for just 20 minutes, and suddenly hours have passed in real time. This isn't a game about sweaty gunfights or high-stakes competition. Instead, it's more of a cozy and wholesome fun relaxation game. On Xbox, it really is the perfect game for when you want to relax, as you can do farming, fishing, decorating your home, or even just hang out with some friendly NPCs in a vibrant open world. What makes it so addictive though is its sense of progression. Slowly, you'll upgrade your house, design your little plot of land, and make it truly feel like your own. It's rewarding in such a calming way, and after a long session of shooters or RPGs, Palia is that perfect chill escape. It's free, it's wholesome, and it's a reminder that games can be just as fun when they're ultimately relaxing. I know that personally my girlfriend has been pretty hooked on this one since I introduced it to her, so I know that this one has a pretty dedicated player base, especially for non-gamers. Arcadegeddon really felt like someone cracked open a neon arcade cabinet and turned it into a modern co-op shooter. It's incredibly bright as you can see, it's honestly chaotic as well and fueled by a pulsing soundtrack that keeps your energy up from start to finish. On Xbox, I managed to play this one when it first got released as a paid experience and it runs buttery smooth. And that's pretty perfect because the game does throw wave after wave of enemies upon you in non-stop action. The best part though is this game really doesn't take itself too seriously. There isn't a tactical precision about it, it's actually more about pure arcade style fun with your friends. One run you'll cruise through without breaking a sweat, and the next you'll be hanging on by a thread as chaos erupts around you. The unpredictability keeps things very fresh, and every session feels like a pretty wild ride. If you want something colourful but in sort of cult mayhem, then Arcadegeddon is the game for you. Disney's Speedstorm is way more than just a Mario Kart game with some Disney characters. This racer really does stand on its own with tight, responsive controls and tracks full of shortcuts, hazards, and boosts to make every lap intense. On Xbox, of course, it does feel fast and fluid, but what really makes it shine though are the characters. Each racer, whether that's Jack Sparrow, Mulan, or even Sully, comes with their own unique abilities that actually change the way you play. Add in lots of seasonal updates with fresh characters, new tracks, and rotating events, and there's always a reason for you to jump back into this one. It's great for a quick pick up and play fun game, but then there's also depth if you do want to grind and master it. Disney Speedstorm does manage to be both accessible and competitive, making it one of the best free racing games out in the market right now. I will say though, it's pretty egregious in terms of its microtransactions, as a lot of characters are actually locked behind real world money, so definitely be warned before diving into this one. If you've ever wanted to feel like you're in the middle of a massive World War II battle, Enlisted is that free to play game that you definitely need to dive into. Unlike most shooters, you don't just play this one as one soldier. Instead, you'll be commanding an entire squad. That means when one of your soldiers goes down which you're playing as, you instantly switch to another, staying in the action without missing a beat. On Xbox, the gunplay does feel pretty weighty and authentic, giving every firefight that gritty edge. The scale is what sets it apart though from other World War II shooters, as tanks will thunder across the battlefield, planes will roar overhead, and infantry squads will press through trenches. It all sort of comes together in that cinematic and chaotic matches that feel utterly alive. Enlisted really nails that atmosphere and is completely free for you to jump into. I've spent way too many hours on this one, and I'm a big fan of games like Hell Let Loose, so this game is definitely worth diving into if you like those World War II shooters. In the same theme, War Thunder is one of those free-to-play games that feels way bigger than it has any right to be. You're not just piloting a tank or even a plane, you can jump between ground battles, naval fights, and full-on dogfights in the sky. The scale in this one is pretty massive, with loads of realistic vehicles and weapons that give every fight a gritty and authentic feel. On Xbox, the controls do take a little bit of getting used to, but once you're comfortable with it, the battles here are absolutely addictive. What I did really love about my time with this one is just the variety you get in every single match. You could be strafing enemies in a fighter jet, and the next you're holding line in a heavy tank. It does give you that freedom to choose how you want to play and keeps War Thunder incredibly exciting. It's definitely in direct competition to something like Enlisted, but I have to say it's well worth trying each of them out to see which one you do prefer. FragPunk is one of the newest free-to-play shooters available on Xbox, and it does kind of stand out because of its very unique style. At first glance, it looks like a fast-paced hero shooter, but the real twist is in its shard cards. These cards basically completely change the rules of rounds, as you can either slow down enemies, speed up bullets, or even alter the entire map. That sort of unpredictability does keep every match feeling fresh, because no two rounds ever play the same. On top of that, the gameplay is pretty sharp. Of course, the abilities are rather flashy, and the movement keeps the action pretty fast. It's chaotic, and if you're tired of cookie cutter shooters and want something that completely shakes up the formula, then FragPunk is definitely worth downloading. Personally, I did actually quite enjoy the game, but it was bogged down by all of those gadget elements like you get in any free-to-play game. Even so, if those elements don't really distract you from playing the overall game, then FragPunk is well worth a download. If you're a football fan like myself but don't want to spend on yearly releases, then eFootball is the free-to-play answer. Of course, this one is built by Konami, and it was designed to be a live service football game that constantly updates instead of you buying a new version every single year. On Xbox, the gameplay has certainly improved since the disastrous initial launch period a couple years back, and now leans towards realism than arcade-style speed. Passing, positioning, and reading the game do matter just as much as your raw skill moves, so it does take some real skill to get past people. It doesn't have the huge license library of games like EA Sports FC, but then again, the most important thing is the on-the-pitch feel, and eFootball kind of nails that. It's now seen regular updates, online leagues, and plenty of ways to test your squad. It's now a really solid free-to-play football option, and I do recommend it now in 2025, since Konami have really improved it. So, what's your favourite free-to-play game on Xbox? You'll have to let me know if I've missed any in the comments below. Do like this video if you did enjoy and found a new free-to-play game to play, and also subscribe as I do upload Xbox content like this every single day. A massive shout out to our channel members for your continued support, and if you want some exclusive previews, updates, and so much more, then click that join button down below. Whilst you're here though, and if you want to check out some more Xbox content, I recently had a chance to go hands-on with Power Wash Simulator 2. The game comes out later this year on Xbox and Xbox Game Pass, and I have a lot of thoughts about my experience with it.